Well, here we are, the end of 2022. The holidays are here. We're here relaxed, hanging out with family. We just had Christmas, and now we're going into this New Year's Eve, into New Year's Day in 2023, just like that. Join us now as we look back on what God has done at One Seed Church through 2022 and what He's going to be doing in 2023. Well, this was a pretty big year for One Seed Church because a year ago we were in the YMCA, a gymnasium, and we had just purchased our first building, knowing that this year would be like no other. And honestly, Michelle, it feels like this year has been 5 years worth of life. It feels like the YMCA was a past life. All the change that has come and gone through this process of us getting into our first permanent home. It's so exciting because we actually purchased 2 out of 3 units in a building over on Tom Ginevra Avenue. The address is 1215 Tom Ginevra Avenue. That's the location of One Seed Church here in O'Fallon, Missouri. And we just thought, hey, we'll just go in there and tear down some walls and get her going and launch church in January. And we did do that, but we highly we did not estimate properly the amount of construction that would need to take place to finish the space. And we did not think we would do it actually as quick as we are doing it. As long as it feels like it's been, we actually didn't plan on finishing the space for at least another year. And now we're in the thick of construction. The inside of the building is going to be brand new, but it's pretty incredible. One Seed went from a portable mobile church for 4 years to its first permanent Shiloh, as I called it. And here we are a year later looking back on our first year in our permanent home. So Michelle, people don't really understand what goes into converting to a building when they hear that the church has a building. And there's things we didn't even know what to expect because we've never done this before with a commercial space. And we got in there and immediately 2 out of the 5 heating and air conditioners were bad. And there was electrical problems, and there were several things that were not right with the building just to have a functioning space. And so I thought we could wing it, and we got the heating and airs fixed right away. And we actually started construction, but the project quickly turned into a much bigger endeavor than we had expected. It was probably 10 times the cost and effort than we expected. So what happened was we started construction, I think in January, started getting framing up and doing things. And then we realized quickly there's no way we could accomplish this without a construction loan. And during that process, we started taking out electric. We started doing some things that we knew we could get by with on the preliminary, but we would soon have to have permit to do this properly. But we had to rip out sprinkler systems. We had ripped out all the drop ceiling that was in the space. When we got the space, it was more of a corporate style front lobby for a carpet warehouse. And we had to rip out this big old circular kiosk that was built like a cave, and we had the kids in there and my dad in there, and we were in there with sledgehammers getting all that ripped out, and we took the drop ceiling out. And then we got into actually some new stuff. We started framing up the lobby right away. It was kind of a reckless place for a bit where not everybody that came to the church could really connect with the vision because there was fragments of metal and a little bit of uneasiness with parents as I would be the same. Our kids were in the front lobby, and there was partial framing and partial electric, and things were just kind of half done. And so we quickly knew we had to get a construction loan to make things happen. And we just continued to have church there the rest of the year as it was. In fact, we did it so long that people started getting used to the way it was, and I had to tell them, no, this is a temporary stop in the process. This is not the finished product, and what we're going for is going to be much greater and much more complete for full family accommodation in a Christian church. So something we had planned to do now we're 5 years old this January, but for 4 of those years, when we got into our space, worship nights were a big part of the vision. One Seed Church does have original music, does have music we produce called One Seed Worship. And so part of the vision has been to have live worship nights with our own music and eventually expand into bringing in other national acts to One Seed Church and really making music a part of the vision of our brand for God. We're a brand for Jesus. That's what we are. And so we got to finally test the waters with our first worship night, and we ran billboards all over town advertising that One Seed Worship was hosting a free worship night. And shockingly, honestly, I didn't expect too many people to come, but we had more people on the worship night than our average weekly attendance in service. So that was pretty cool. We did, was it a Thursday or Friday night? I think it was a Friday night. And I spoke at nighttime for the first time, gave a little short message about worship, and the worship team did 10 songs. And it was just so cool. And everybody that came, I would say everybody, was nobody that would come on Sundays. So that showed us there's a completely different audience that's interested in the worship, that are not necessarily used to Sunday morning, the Sunday morning experience. And that was interesting, and it bothered me at the same time, because we saw all these people flood in on a Friday night, and then we never saw them again on a Sunday morning. So we started thinking from that point on, how do we bridge the gap to show people they need both experiences? And so the worship night was super cool because it was our first time doing it, and we got to get a feel for what this will be like going forward. So now we have kind of a buffer to set the standard for what the next worship night will be, and they will be tremendous. And in the years to come, we're going to really promote these things and have some really cool acts coming to town of national recording artists. And then One Seed Worship is going to open for them, and it's going to be super cool. So that was a big personal dream of mine, and many on the worship team. I know Nolani was excited to do that, and the kids were excited to see that, and it was just a really fun family night at One Seed Church.
So something else new that happened this year is that we have our first events coordinator, Jen Hill, and she is doing all of our in-house One Seed events, such as the barbecue for Memorial Day. And that was really neat. We were able to do it on the property this year, where in years past we've done it at a park and that sort of thing. So it was really fun to get some bounce houses for the kids, and use our own grill in the back and have tents up. That was really awesome. And she also did our back to school event for our O Kids. We also did like a huge obstacle course for that, and had some fun prizes and popsicles, and had Kona Ice come out for that as well. So that was really fun. And she also treats our pastors when they come in. She sets up any types of luncheons for them as well.
So another first for One Seed this year is we got our first outreach coordinator. That was super exciting, because an outreach coordinator is similar to an events coordinator, except the events coordinator is focused more on church-wide events, while the outreach coordinator is focused on community outreach and events that target the community, charitable causes, donation drives, food drives, clothing drives. And this year, late in the year, we found out that Jackie has a passion for outreach and had been doing outreach for quite some time. So Jackie became our first outreach coordinator, and she brought to the table this December support for the Epworth Home, which is supporting youth in troubled homes. And we were able to provide winter items for them this Christmas season, and other things they needed. And it was really cool, because One Seed has a thing called Miracle Month, and that's where every December we find a cause to support. We used to do the Crisis Nursery. We've done Friends of Wing, which is children on hospice. We've done a lot of things that people don't even know about. But now, having an outreach coordinator, we did the Epworth Home. And then next year we'll be doing something different for the Miracle Month. But we have someone dedicated to focusing on our Miracle Month, our Thanksgiving food drive, and then all year round she'll be focused on planning serve days that our volunteers can get out and go serve the community, whether it's shoveling mulch like we did one year for a park, or it's painting someone's home who needs help, or helping a senior. Like, whatever the need is, One Seed is now going to have a dedicated coordinator to help find those needs and serve those needs in the city of O'Fallon. So now let's get down to the really fun stuff. That is, what is the new church going to look like in 2023? Well, it always feels like hurry up and wait, but this past summer we did finally get a construction loan to move forward, and this fall we got our permits to move forward the proper way with the city. And so we are currently doing construction. We are currently building new getting rid of old. But let's talk briefly about the new building. The new building is going to support about 375 people in the auditorium. We are taking down the current wall that is our backdrop in the auditorium, and we'll be expanding that about another 30 to 40 feet, which will be where our stage is. If you can picture kind of a rock club, narrow type of music hall, that is kind of the layout due to the shape of the building. And we'll have backstage entrance. We'll have a nice elevated stage, and it's going to be awesome. And then on the front of the building, we're going to have our finished lobby. We're going to have a merch store, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And then you head down the hallway to the O Kids lobby. That's where the O Kids will have their experience, and Michelle's going to touch on that in just a moment, including the arcade. The arcade is something that the kid in all of us is excited about. We're going to have a one-seat arcade that is basically available to the kids and the adults, really, in some kind of organized structure, so everybody don't flood in there at once. But we have about 8 arcades. We're going to have pinball, foosball, air hockey, ping pong. We've got an 85-inch TV on the wall playing worship songs. We've got a hologram fan that's going to throw up holograms like you see in the arcades. And we've got a really cool one-seat arcade LED neon light that will be up on the wall when you walk in. It's going to be an experience like no other. And people think like this is, and the gumball machine. We've got a ridiculous gumball machine that is 6'9", and it's about this big around. And you put a quarter in, you get yourself a gumball, a 1-inch gumball. And it's those little things that we're doing to try to separate ourselves from everybody else that makes One Seed the unique experience it is. And these games in this arcade is not just for the kids, but it's a way to have community with the adults. So we're gonna have One Seed arcade night, where it's like a monthly thing or a quarterly thing where all the adults come in and can have a little friendly competition. I made a joke about leaving Jesus at the door because it's all about winning, but it's going to be super, super awesome. So the last thing I think we haven't touched on yet is our merch store. We're going to have a full merchandise area in the lobby. And we just think that people are excited for this different approach to some of the elements of the church experience. And that's why we're doing it kind of not traditional. But Michelle, why don't you kind of talk about what the merch store is and what that experience is going to feel like? And, just any details you want to share there.
It's going to be in our front lobby area, currently where the O Kids are, and it's going to be a really modern take on your store. So you'll just be able to go in there, check everything out that we have, and we do have some really exciting new things coming for 2023, so it's always going to be fresh. So you can buy right on the spot there. You get to go home with it. It's just shopping like at any old store. We'll have all the sizes. We will have some kid sizes as well, which is exciting because I know that they get excited about the merch as well. We're going to have Yeti tumblers, journals, water bottles, hats, a lot of stuff for One Seed worship as well.
Yeah, so we have a lot of hoodies. Mm-hmm. And what's funny now is when you come to church, half the congregation is already wearing the merch, which is like the coolest thing. So we have these hoodies. Shout out One Seed Worship's first hoodie, super soft. You can shop online at store.oneseedchurch.org anytime, even right now, but when you come into church, the merch is a way you can stay connected with the church and share the church with others in a new way. And we're going to have some other things in there that are going to be a surprise that you can buy, and things like energy drinks and some nice waters, and maybe you need a cold frap from the cooler, like kind of like a convenience store. But it's going to be very tasteful, very modern, and it's going to be very fresh. And we're just super excited about that. We're going to keep releasing merch on a regular, quarterly, because people seem to be really, out of all the things we've done with the church, I would say the merch, or we call it swag, has been one of the most successful things we've seen people really latch onto. So that's exciting to see people light up over it. So we want to keep producing more of what people want. So we're super excited about the One Seed merch store coming in 2023? Well, I think we've covered most of the details that we can cover now without showing them more when 2023 hits with the finished product of the building. But we want to encourage you to stay in the faith as you enter a new season and a new year, and that we don't have New Year's resolutions here. We have new steps of faith we take towards God's purpose for our life. And that's just a journey that will never end. It doesn't start and end with New Year's. It's a day-to-day process. And so we're so thankful that God has brought us this far after all the experience and ups and downs with the past few years when we wondered if God would do this. I personally believe that I know I wanted God to do certain things, but then I learned that the church has to reciprocate the faith that God is provisioning for things to happen. And so this year has been a real encouragement to us personally to see that we can rebound from the coronavirus epidemic season of the church. We can continue down the journey that God has led us to. And so we want to wish you a wonderful holiday season. And now let's talk about what's going to happen in 2023. You know what? Better yet than let's talk about it, let's watch this video next, and we'll see you next year.
Where are the people in the room that says he met me when I didn't think he was going to meet me? When I was down to my last dime, he met me. When the doctor said it was over, he met me. When I thought she was going to leave me, he turned the marriage around. When I thought he wasn't going to come home, he came home. When I thought the addiction wasn't going to stop, the addiction broke. When I thought the child will not be saved, he is serving God today. She is serving. Come on, where are all the testimonies at right now? I need you to release your faith in the room.
You think you're stuck in a position of less? What if you stop looking at it like that and realize that you're not stuck, you're sent. You're sent to carry immeasurably more into every situation. Because what if Paul was writing this, immeasurably more was less about what we're meant to get and more about what we're supposed to bring?
If you're still watching at this point in the video, God told me to come on here and just share one more thought with you. 2023 is going to be the best year of your life. You're called, you're chosen, you have a purpose, and we are just so grateful for One Seat Church. That's you all. The building is super cool, but that's not the church. The church is you all. And God has a very specific purpose for your life. And the goal of all this is that you find that purpose. Nothing else matters if you don't find your purpose. So we want to wish you the best 2023. We're so excited to see God move in this community and this church in 2023. And we want to share with you something amazing, that January 15th, 2023, One Seat Church is celebrating 5 years since its first service in 2018. And we're going to have an amazing time in the lobby after the experience with appetizers and cake, celebrating this monumental occasion for us. We want you to invite your friends and family. Tell everyone you know to get to One Seat Church. It may be the 5th year of the church's existence, but it may be the first experience of someone you know finding their purpose in Christ. We love you. We can't wait to see you. God is for you.